Welcome into Module 2. We are going to be launching the ads from start to almost finish in this video, and we got a couple more things where just sequentially I separated these into different videos. We're going to go through everything right now with the audiences, the location, the languages, the placements of your ad, and actually show you inside of an ad account what it looks like start to finish. So if you're starting from scratch, very, very great video, very helpful just so you can see the platform. And if you already have experience running ads, maybe there's something you missed or some things that we do differently, so just follow along. Simple video. Step by step, I'm going to kind of run you through these top to bottom. Again, like we said, you're setting up your pixel. You already have that all created. I'm assuming everything is good. Let's go through here. This is what your dashboard called the Ads Manager looks like. So we're going to create a campaign over here on the left. The basic thing we're doing for just about any e-commerce offer is going to be a conversion ad. Okay, so we're going to select conversions over here. And then over here, you can name it whatever you want. What I personally do, because we're doing ad set budgets, we're not turning on campaign budget optimization. We'll talk more about that later. I'm just going to do I'll literally title it basic tests. And if you're going to do multiple products at the same time, you can put product name for an example. So if that's applicable for you, but just basic tests. I'm just launching a couple simple things. No limit. The reason behind this is, let's say ads are working really well and you set the limit at, $100. Well, now you have to adjust the campaign budget or launch a new campaign and all that. There's absolutely no reason to uncheck this because you're controlling the budget at the ad set level, or on TikTok, it's called ad groups anyways. So we're gonna leave it like this. Again, top to bottom, conversions. You can name it whatever you want. Budget, keep it super simple. We'll talk more about everything else later. So we'll go to this next page, ad group name. My basic tests always start running in US and Canada. So this is how I name my ads, US/Canada, just so I know. And then I'm gonna put a space and a little dash. I do this on every platform. It's just how I keep track of my names. My next thing I'm gonna include inside of there is gonna be the name of the audience or the audiences that I'm putting in. Okay, we're gonna get to that in a minute. Promotion type, okay? We're promoting our website in this situation. For a pixel, you're gonna go on here and select your pixel, okay? And then the optimizing event. You have a lot of different options. Don't be worried if it says no recent activity. If you're starting from scratch, that's natural. You have no sales, you have no add to carts. It doesn't mean you can't target that. So this just means, what is the goal of the ad? What is the platform trying to optimize for? Now, keep in mind, it's not really gonna make a difference between any of these when you're starting because you have no data anyways. So because of that, we would rather go for complete payment, because then as soon as you start getting some sales coming in, it's gonna start pointing towards that. I just feel like it helps you a little bit more, and all the money I've spent backs up that claim. So we're gonna start with complete payment. Just as a side note, we'll get into this later. View content is something we'll switch to via duplicates if our complete payment ads are not spending. So just like how we talked about preloading your ad account with money if the ads aren't spending, same thing you can do is switch to what's called a higher funnel event. People are going to view the content before they add to cart, before they complete the payment. So if your complete payment ads aren't spending, try launching a view content or two and open up the audiences a little bit, just bigger audiences. So for now, we're gonna be doing complete payment. It's what I always start with. For placements, you can do whatever you want as long as you're not running a Spark post. Remember, a Spark post is where we take the ID of a post that is on our TikTok ad account or someone else. Even if you pay an influencer $5,000 to promote your product and they have 1 million followers, if you get them to turn on the post ID and they send it to you, you can run ads directly through their post on the page. It's really good for social proof, especially if they're verified. But if you're doing Spark posts, you have to select a manual placement and only do TikTok. The parent company that owns TikTok owns these other apps as well. It's never really made much of a difference. I've run plenty of stuff on automatic placements that were not Spark ads, and I never saw much of a difference. So TikTok, we'll leave it like that. Creative type, the automated creative optimization. This is only for when you are scaling very far down the road, in my opinion, past $10,000 a day in ad spend. This is where, hey, I have 40 videos I'm trying to integrate and we got 20 new ones from influencers. When you have a ton of content, that's where we'll play around with this. So we can talk about that later. The targeting up here at the top is where you're going to be having all of your custom audiences. This is not going to be applicable to you until you have pretty much over 100 sales is where we'll start doing that. So you can make custom contents over on the assets here under audiences, and you'll make, view content lookalikes, purchase lookalikes, and you can also just do a lot of things. So location, remember, we're targeting the US and Canada. If you have advertised on any other platform, you will notice a lot of restrictions. There's not many options. Compared to any other platform, this has next to no targeting options. So I think that'll change over time, but for right now, those are the only options you have. Just a side note, when I target anything other than Canada, United States, and UAE, it's just an absolute nightmare. And the reason I say that is because it might get some purchases, but the visitors on my Shopify store will go from 400 to like 36,000 with 3,000 on there live, and it never gets a sale. So I don't know if it's like fake bots or whatever it is, but whenever I'm targeting, you know, like Egypt's actually not too bad, but like Korea, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey is a little back and forth, but any of those, like it doesn't work that well for me personally. Now, when it comes to gender, unless your product is like 100% only applies to one gender, which is so rare nowadays, you're going to leave it as all. Again, we want to leave things broad, leave it open. Platforms prefer that, and it's going to just leave more room for the ads to learn and your pixel to learn. Same exact deal with age. There's absolutely no reason to assume anything. When I came into this platform, I assumed it was people between like 12 and 25 years old. And I came to realize 35 to 44 is an extremely strong demographic. Now, beyond that, we don't get a ton of sales from there. Also, a lot of people have different privacy policy things through the iOS updates where you can't actually see their age. So breaking down your ads via the age is not even really a good option anymore. So we just leave it broad, languages, all. This is where you have multiple different targeting options. So these will be what's called our interest, our general targeting. You can do a lot of different things in here, but you have four main options. Targeting via hashtags. I've never had a lot of success with this. Let's pretend like we're doing something in the automotive space. Car, okay? Car guy, for an example. Car guys, the size for that is 1.8. You see that over there on the right? I can't put my mouse over, but 1.8 to 2.2 million. That's the size. Let's see. Let's go dream car. Let's say we're selling Ferraris for an example. You know, dream car, how big is that? 1 million to 1.3 million. So you can search through different hashtags if you want to target a hashtag. Like if we're selling jewelry, let's do hashtag necklace if that's what we're selling. All right, how many people does that has? That has 3.2 to 5.2 million, or excuse me, 4.2 to 5.2 million. Plenty good in terms of size. So just so you know what we're looking for, we want to open up our size and have it be at least 15 to 20 million people. Anything beyond that, you can still get sales. I will tell you this right now. Go ahead and target it. It's just fine. Try it out. I'm all for testing. Launch something that is only 3 million people total. Like if we select necklace here, it's only 4.2 to 5.2 with the US and Canada. That's fine. In fact, I would almost guarantee you that as long as I had a decent ad and a decent product, this will get sales. But I doubt it would be profitable, and I doubt it would make sales for a consistent period of time. It'll probably work a little bit and then die. That's what usually happens when your audience is too narrow. How do you know if it's too narrow? They're going to give you that suggestion. And now on Facebook, I completely ignore all warnings. On TikTok, you genuinely need to have a bigger audience. They like that. So in the beginning, I'm not messing with any of these different things. Creator interactions, like, hey, they follow people who are usually doing relationship videos around romance. You know, you can get pretty narrow on there. Same thing with video interactions. Hey, I want people who liked a video in this category in the last 7 days or 15 days. So a lot of audiences, we're only going to play around in the interests. So for an example, let's go back to the jewelry example there. Necklace. Let's say we're selling necklaces. Doesn't matter what we're selling here. All sorts of different things. Personalized name necklaces, the ones that say your name. Sarah, Mark, whatever. Okay, that one's way too small. Necklace for women. Also too small. The necklace. There you go. That's big enough. Okay, if we click that, what are we putting our audience to? 8.7 to 10.4. Now, if you are either struggling to find an interest that is big enough, which is unlikely, however, it's possible. If you're struggling to do that, or you just want to open it up, if you just scroll down right below, there's something called the targeting expansion. You can enable this and watch what happens up here on the right. Just keep your eye on the upper right. We're going to select this. It'll probably go to 120 million if I had to guess. Wait for it. We're going to select the interests. 132. Close enough, right? So what you're doing is you're basically just opening the audience up back to everything as if you're not targeting anything, but you have this targeting in there as a general parameter. So what they're doing, they're like, okay, he's willing to target anybody. We don't have to stick to this, but let's use that as a guide. Let's use that as a framework. So that's what's called expand interest. And so what I would do in this situation, if I had the necklace as my audience, only one audience, and I had expanded the interest, here's how I structure my ads. I would put the necklace, so I know what I'm targeting, and in parentheses, I put EI. That's it. That's just so I know what's going on. And I can see in the names when I'm looking through my campaigns, is this expanded interest or is it not? And eventually, I'll start, just because you're looking for more audiences to scale, and we'll talk about this later, I'll even take something that's large. Let's go back to necklace here. A necklace, we're looking for something that's really, really big. Okay, photo necklace. Nope, none of these are too big. Necklace, there we go. We got just necklace. Oh, that one's 12 million to 14 million. I'll even take really big audiences and leave the expand interest on, just giving TikTok more room to work. The more audience variations you can do, the better. But when we're first starting from scratch, I would do necklace. I'd probably keep this off when I'm starting on this one because it's almost big enough. Maybe I'd turn it on. What I'm looking to do is launch 3 to 5 ads, and we can jump back over here to do it. Where did I put this? Here we go. 3 to 5 ad sets inside of my campaign. I'm going to be running $20 per day budgets. Now, inside of there, I'm going to be mixing some audiences. So inside the one campaign, I'm going to have multiple where I'm just targeting necklace. Let's expand the interest. Boom, now it's very large. We're gonna run a $20 a day budget because we're selling something for 40. I'm not gonna bother scheduling the ad. It's really not that big of a deal. Day parting, we'll talk about this later. Leave it as all day for right now. So I'm gonna go back up here and just change it to what I had set it as. I'm gonna go all the way to the bottom. Optimization goal, again, conversion, just like we said on the campaign. We're looking for that. Cost cap, completely ignore this. Do not check that. Do not choose cost cap where you're kind of selecting what your ideal bid should be. A few things are gonna happen. Number one, it's not gonna spend. There's no way it's spending for you on a brand new ad account. Even when I've spent hundreds of thousands, like I have an ad account that spent about $250,000, I cannot, no matter what I set the bid at, even if it's $200 for a $30 product, like it will not spend. So sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. We'll use that for scaling and different testing down the road. So we'll do lowest cost, that's our goal. So that's everything I would set up on this page. That's it. This is for the first ad group out of 3 to 5. So I'm going to launch about 5 of these, optimizing for complete payment. We got the pixel in there. We're only running TikTok, leaving everything off there. We got no custom audiences, Canada and the US, broad for languages. For the necklace, okay? Something that's, somewhat similar to what we're doing, expanding that interest, cool. I'm gonna go to the next page. And over here on this page, we are gonna do absolutely nothing right now. In another video, I'm gonna cover how to set up the ads. You can see as we're doing Spark ads inside of here. We'll set all this up here in another video. We definitely need a dedicated video to talk about the types of ads, formats, where to get your videos, how to do them yourself, how to set up your TikTok page, as well as all the ad copy, links, buttons, etc. So let's jump back right here. I wanna go back and continue going through this slide. So the goal of this first campaign is to launch that one ad set that you would have just seen me launch. What I would do is I would have finished this page, I'd go to the next one you just saw, input the ad stuff that you'll see here in the next video, and then I'd launch it. From there, I'm gonna duplicate it. I'm gonna duplicate it multiple times, just one at a time, and I'm just gonna change the interest. So sometimes I want a single interest. Other times I'm gonna mix 4 or 5 interests. Other times I'm looking for maybe a behavior. Some of those I'm gonna have expand interest. Some of those I'm not. And almost always, it's gonna be a $20 a day budget. The only time where you would need to spend more, and I think I might have put this here somewhere. Here we go. We do $20 a day unless our ideal cost per purchase would not necessarily be under that. So for an example, if I'm selling something for $70+ maybe I'm gonna have a $20 to $30 cost per purchase. That'd be pretty normal. So I would consider mixing budgets. Maybe I'd have 2 of them at $20, 2 of them at $30, and 1 at $50 a day. So the higher that you're selling your product price for on that front end product, the higher you're gonna need to have your budget to accommodate that. So again, just keep that in mind. I'd mix them around. And on the same note, once you reach a certain point, the higher the budget is, the faster you can kill it if it's not working. So just to note, at $50 a day, I'm only gonna give it 2 full days. At $100 a day, I give it about a day and a half. And no matter what the budget is, I'm always letting it run for the first full day. I need a full day, start to finish, and I'm gonna let it run for part of another. So if it's at $3,000 a day, you're gonna spend $3,000 through one day and then probably another $2,000 out of the $3,000 budget on that next day. So I'm gonna spend $5,000 before I ever kill it, before I do anything to it, because it needs a little bit of time to optimize. So again, obviously these bigger numbers will come later. It's all relative. However, that's some basic budget clarification. Now, if we jump back up through here, underneath each one, and we're gonna talk about this more in the next video, we're gonna have 2 to 3 ad creatives. So you can very easily have 2 videos underneath. So we wanna test 2 different videos or more on TikTok. On other platforms, you can get away with just 1. On TikTok, you always want multiple. 2, 3, 4 is kind of the sweet spot. So if something's not working, you can turn it off and replace it with another. They like that, having multiple options. TikTok's a very broad platform in terms of its targeting. The Pixel likes to have room to work, okay? And then, so just so you know kind of the basic framework, once we launch this, we launched the one campaign, you just saw me launch the first ad set, we duplicated a few times, just have those couple $20 a day budgets, most likely, different audiences, that's the only difference between them, they all have the same videos underneath, then we're gonna leave it alone for 3 days. There's nothing you will have to do for 3 days after the day you launch your ads. Now you can play around and research some more products if you want, maybe get another video, work on the website, but there's nothing you have to do with the ads. So it really doesn't take any time. So you're gonna leave it alone for 3 full days, and then we'll talk more about this later, but a very simple rule of thumb is we always kill everything that has 0 sales on the 3rd day. If it's run 3 full days and it has 0 sales, I don't care what's going on, what the excuse is, what the reason, it's being turned off. Okay, unless for some reason you have a ton of sales and nothing's tracked, then obviously they're getting sales and something else has to be fixed with the pixel. But a simple rule of thumb, 3 full days, turn off anything with no sales, and then anything with 1 sale or more, we're gonna mess with. So that's how we launched the campaign. It's really nothing too crazy. You know, again, the pixel selected, the optimizing event, we do complete payment, and we'll change it if it doesn't spend to view content is typically the best. Placement selection, if you're running Spark ads, which I highly recommend, you're only gonna be running on TikTok. Location, the best place to start, US and Canada, that's what I do. I've tried separating those out, but those mixed together create a little bit of a bigger audience, and they're both just as high quality. Most sales do come from the US, about 70% of mine. Audiences, that's where you're selecting your interest, or if you want to mix together a couple, that's totally fine. Just have some different separation, some different tests between the ad groups inside your campaign. We're selecting lowest cost. Once the first one is launched, then we're going to duplicate it again, and the only thing we're changing is the audience, and then subsequently the name as well. So we go back up on that duplicate. On the new one, maybe you're just running, you know, jewelry, and that's it. You're not expanding the interest because maybe jewelry is very large. Let's go in here and see how big jewelry is. Okay, I guarantee you it's bigger. It has to be. There's ordinary jewelry that is 82 million to 100 million. High-end jewelry, 36 million. Body jewelry, 1 point something. Personalized jewelry. Okay, that's not much. Let's keep scrolling down. Where's jewelry? Jewelry. There we go. It's got to be. There you go, 19 million to 27. So like, there's plenty of options depending on what you're targeting. You know, and this one's big enough where I probably would ignore this, the narrow one. It's about 15 to 20 million. I'll consider ignoring it. But you could also run one that's just targeting jewelry and a duplicate of that that's targeting jewelry and expanding the interest. Now, I probably wouldn't do that during my first 5 that I'm testing because I really want more separation. But when you're scaling, if the audience is working, launch a duplicate with the expanded interest on, see how it works. So I'm all for testing, but that's some super basics behind how we launch the ads, what it takes in terms of the budgeting, the structure, how many we're launching, how long we're gonna let it run for. We'll get more into like managing the ads and stuff inside of the video that's meant for that, where you like, you know, read the data, you know what to do. But that's how we launch it, top to bottom, start to finish. This is what it looks like inside the platform. This is what you can expect, and you should be able to throw these ads together pretty quickly. It's not too hard. So yeah, jump on in the next video and we'll keep going.